Hello dear aspirants and welcome to the YouTube channel of The Study. From the very beginning, The Study Institute has been involved in the subject of history by developing people's understanding and approach to study the subject. Keeping this in view of your upcoming UPSC and State Civil Services examination, The Study Institute is starting a new series called Quick Revision of History, which will prove useful for your preliminary and mains examinations. So let's start with today's topic by not taking much of your time. Our topic for the day is sources of ancient history and prehistoric period. Before starting the topic, let's have an eye on a brief introduction to history. History is a series of human efforts made in the past. The study of the past in the gleam of the present is called history. Under this, past events are contemplated so that by this we can try to secure our future by determining the direction and condition of us and our society. The present human form is the result of gradual development. Historians have classified it into several parts to simplify its study. This period has no written evidences found and thus is called prehistoric period. For example, the Stone Age, in which though the scripted evidences are found, but the script has not yet been deciphered. It is called the protohistoric period. Such as the Indus civilization, from the time we found the written inscriptions, it has been termed as the historical period, such as the period of 6th century BCE or Mahajanpada period. We learned all these chronologies on the basis of historical evidences. They are divided into two categories: archaeological evidences and literal evidences. The inhabitants of ancient India have left behind a number of physical remains called archaeological evidence. These include inscriptions, monuments and buildings, coins, sculptures, paintings and seals. Hence, let's move forward and start our topic with inscriptions. Most of the inscriptions in ancient India are inscribed on stone rocks, pillars, copper plates, walls and statues. Their study is called epigraphy, and the study of historic writing systems and the deciphering and dating of manuscripts and analysis of documents is called paleography. The oldest inscriptions are found on the seals of Harappan culture, which were not yet deciphered. Among the most ancient inscriptions are records from Bogaj Koi in Central Asia. On this, names of Vedic deities like Varuna, Indra and Nasatya are found. It helps to know the date of the Rig Veda. The oldest inscriptions that have been deciphered are Ashoka's inscription of the 3rd century BCE. Most of the Ashokan inscriptions are in the Brahmi script, which are written from left to right. In addition, some inscriptions are in the Kharoshthi script too, which was written from right to left. Also, Greek and Aramaic scripts have also been used in the records of Pakistan and Afghanistan. For the very first time in 1837, James Prinsep read Ashoka's inscription written in the Brahmi script. Ashoka's name is clearly mentioned in the inscription received from Maski, Gurjara, Nittur and Yede Ghulam, while in other inscriptions he is called as Vanam Piyadasi, that is, the beloved of the gods. Records can be divided into different regional classes. Information about the social, religious and administrative mandates and decisions issued to the officials and public are found in these records. Ritual inscriptions were engraved by the followers of Buddhist, Jain, Vaishnav and Shaiva sects, etc. There were further prevalence of administration in which the victories of the kings were praised. Apart from all these, donation letters and land donation records were also included, which provided information about the land system, administration, etc. of ancient India. These inscriptions were mostly engraved on copper plate. Garura pillar article of Indo-Greek ambassador Heliodorus from Baisnagar is notable in non-official records, through which we learned about the development of Bhagavad religion. Monuments and buildings. Knowledge of spirituality and piety related to monuments and buildings are found from the period available. As the excavations of Harappa and Mohenjo-daro reveal about the Indus civilization, the evidence of iron and Atranji Khera tells us about the vogue of iron in 1000 BCE. The palace and the temple provide information about the cultural aspect of the time. Coins. Apart from the inscriptions, monuments and buildings, information about the then political and economic system is obtained through coins issued by the ancient kings. The study of coins is called numismatics. Old coins were made up of silver, copper, gold and lead. The oldest coins are called Ahat coins or the punch-marked coins because of their making techniques, that is, they were made by knocking. On it, symbols of trees, fish, bull, elephant, crescent, etc. were made. Some symbols are found on early initial coins, but in the later coins, names and dates of kings and deities are also mentioned. From the extraction of these coins, information about political expansion and chronology is deciphered. Most coins were made in post-Mauryan period and were specially made up of lead, potine, copper, bronze, silver and gold. The Satavahanas issued lead and the Guptas issued maximum gold coins. All this shows that trade and commerce remained in a more developed state, especially between the post-Mauryan period and the Gupta period. The Indo-Greek rulers first started the work of writing articles on coins. Coins are also marked with pictures and religious symbols and articles of dynasties and deities, which throws light on the then art and religion of the time. Sculptures. The creation of idols in ancient Indian history started from the Kushana period. Gandhara, Mathura and Amravati sculpture styles were developed during this period. Gandhara sculpture has a foreign influence while Mathura and Amravati styles are indigenous. Paintings. Painting helps in understanding the sentiments of the erstwhile society. For example, the cave paintings of Ajanta are a legacy of ancient artistic achievements. Among these, the portrait of Bodhisattvas of Padampani and the depiction of Moro's princess portrays a complete sense of artistic progress. The seals. The seals obtained from the remains helps a lot in writing the history of India. Seals provide ample information about business, religion, economic life, etc. Now let's talk about the literary evidences. We study the literary evidences by categorizing them into religious literature and secular literature. Brahmin and non-Brahmin texts are discussed under religious literature. Vedas, Upanishads, Ramayana, Mahabharata and Purana, etc. are included in the Brahmin text, whereas Buddhist and Jain texts are included in non-Brahmin texts. This literature throws light on the social and cultural situation of ancient India. The Rig Vedic era is considered in between 1500 to 1000 BCE and the time period between 1000 and 500 BCE is considered as the era when the Yajurveda, Samveda, Atharva Veda, Brahmana, Aranyakas and Upanishads were developed. The Rig Veda consists of mainly praises of the deities, but later, along with the Vathadaka literature, it also contains hymns as well as rituals, Karamkanda, mysticism, Jadutona, and mythological narratives. We also find philosophical contemplations in the Upanishads. To better understand the Vedas, 6 Vedangas were created, which were as follows: Shiksha, phonetics and phonology; Chandas, prosody; Vyakarana, grammar; Nirukta, etymology; Kalpa, rituals; and Jyotisha, astrology. The final compilation of the Mahabharata, the Ramayana and the major Puranas seems to have been taking place in around 400 AD. The number of Puranas are 18, which provide information about historical events from ancient times to the Gupta period. They were created by Lomhars and his son Ugrashrava. The Matsya Purana is the most ancient and evidential. Historical personalities and events that are found in Jain and Buddhist texts. The oldest Buddhist texts were written in Pali language. It provides information about the life of Gautam Buddha as well as many rulers of Magadha. northern Bihar, and eastern Uttar Pradesh. Jain texts were composed in Prakrit language. Based on these, we get proofs in rebuilding the political history of Mahavira era in Bihar and eastern Uttar Pradesh. Now let's talk about the secular literature. Secular historical literature, texts, biographies, dharma sutras, memories, and commentaries based on secular literature were created. Kautilya's Arthashastra is a very important book in historical texts. It contains important materialistic texts for the study of the ancient Indian polity and economy. Raj Tarangini was composed by Kalhan is also particularly notable. This is the first attempt to write a chronological history of events in Sanskrit literature, in which the events of the period of each ruler of Kashmir from aboriginal period to the beginning of 1151 AD are described in the chronological order. Proto-historical texts include Ashtayayi of Panini, Katyayan's Vartika, Patanjali's Mahabhashya, Kalidasa's Abhigyan Shakuntalam, Malvika Agnimitram, etc. Biographies include Buddha Charita composed by Ashwagosha, Harsha Charita of Banabhatta, Vikrama Deva Charita of Wilhan, etc. Information about the history of South India can be obtained from Sangam literature that include Tolakappiyam, Tirukural, Ahananuru, Purananuru, Shilapadikaram, Mashi Mekhalai, etc. In this way, information about ancient India is obtained from Indian literature. Apart from this, foreign literature or foreign accounts can be supplemented by Indian literature. Many Greek, Roman, Chinese travelers came to India by becoming tourists or adopting Indian religion and gave the eye-witnessing account of the description of India through their writings. Let's talk about the Greek and Roman writers. Tatius and Herodotus were famous amongst the ancient writers of Greece. Tatius was from Iran and was an anarchist. Most of his stories are fictitious. Herodotus is called the father of history. Through this, the relationship among India and Persia is mentioned in the Historica written in the 5th century BCE. The Greek writers who accompanied Alexander in 326 BCE were Nearchus, Onesicritus, and Aristobulus. Among Alexander's later scripts, the names of 3 ambassadors were majorly mentioned. These were Megasthenes, Demachus, and Dionysius. Indica, written by Megasthenes, describes the society and culture of the Mauryan period. Demachus was the ambassador of Syrian ruler Antiochus, who came in the court of Bindusara. Dionysius was the ambassador of Ptolemy Philadelphus, the ruler of Egypt, who came to the court of Bindusara. The book of the Periplus of Eritrea Sea and the Tall Seas Geography are also found to have abundant material for the study of ancient geography and trade and commerce. Pliny's Natural Historica of the 1st century CE, which gave information about trade between India and Italy. Apart from this, ancient India keeps an important relevance in the evidences in the source of history. These Chinese pilgrims were Buddhists and came to India to visit Buddhist pilgrimages and study Buddhism. Major one of them are Fa Hien, who came in India in the early 5th century CE. He came to India during the reign of Chandragupta Vikramaditya. He have highlighted the social, religious, and economic situations of the Gupta period in India. Hume Sang came to India in the 7th century during the time of Harshavardhana. He wrote about Harshvardhana in his creation Siyuki. I Singh arrived in India by the end of the 7th century. He has described Nalanda University, Vikramashila University, and erstwhile India in his depictions. So friends, thus we covered the entire topic related to important scripts of ancient Indian history. We'll further learn about the prehistoric period by moving forward in the upcoming lecture. Till then, stay tuned with us, stay safe, stay at home. Please like, share and subscribe our channel. Thank you.